And good Thursday, December 17th, 2020. And we're going to start off by looking at some temperatures here. What you're looking at is the GFS model. Uh, for Wednesday, December 23rd, 6 days ahead from now. And don't think we're going to have any issues with severe weather. Uh, there's a front that's going to be coming through. Uh, between the 23rd and Christmas Eve, and uh, any severe weather potential with it should remain confined out in the Gulf of Mexico uh, and off to the eastern Atlantic states. So I think we're going to be fine with that. We'll get a little bit of rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder out of it, but for once this year, Christmas may just seem like Christmas, albeit without the snow. Uh, We're going to take a look, and thanks to the good folks over at Pivotal Weather for these graphics. Uh, this is looking at midnight on December 23rd. Uh, we'll advance the frame here, and we'll go to 6 a.m. On the 23rd, and you can see most of us are in the generally in the uh, mid to upper 50s across the state, low 50s in certain areas. Uh, but uh, no freezing. Now, we'll advance it, and you can see during the day here, uh, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you can see some of us, Lake Charles checking in at 75, Lafayette 70, Baton Rouge 67, New Orleans 64, Alexandria 68, uh, negative 69, Shreveport 66, Monroe 64, and uh, over here in Houston 77. So the day before Christmas Eve will be quite warm, but as you can see up here, we have a trough digging down and some cold air behind it. Now watch as we progress forward. You can see this trough in front digging down here as we go to 6 p.m. Uh, on the 23rd, and temperatures still in the mid to upper 60s across the state, depending on where you are, and be in the low 60s. Then we'll move forward, and as we get to midnight, uh, Wednesday midnight, Thursday, moving to Thursday morning of Christmas Eve, 06 Zulu, we see that the front's moving through the state at this time, and again, we're a week out, so the timing is still going to be up for debate. Uh, but between the Euro and the GFS, I'm going to show you the comparison between the two, give you a basic time frame, and show you at least as far as temperatures are concerned, they're in pretty good agreement. GFS is trending a little warmer, which is typical than the Euro. So uh, you'll see that as well as we move forward, and I give you both of these here. But you can see that the trough is dug way down in the South Texas and Southeast Texas, and you see that cold air is bottled up coming out of New Mexico, coming through Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle region there, up to Missouri and encroaching on northwest Arkansas. Now we'll move forward now, and 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve, you see the fronts move through Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. You see that cold air coming, moving through. Uh, Albeit it's going to be windy, so there's going to be a wind chill. So you can expect probably 5 to 6 degrees, maybe 7 degree temperature differential between the actual air temperature and the feels like or wind chill temperature as after this front gets through here. So uh, This will be 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and then we'll advance it another frame here, and you can see noon on Christmas Eve. Front's cleared the coast, cleared the state, as well over into the Florida Panhandle here, and uh, everybody's in the mid to upper 40s to low 50s across the state, with the exception of down here along the boot, Venice, Pilot Town, and what have you. Uh, that'll change for those folks down there in that part of the world moving forward. Now, so Christmas Eve, going to be cold or chilly, if you will, depending on if you're a warm blooded creature or you're a cold blooded creature like myself who enjoys the cold weather. Uh, this will be enjoyable for you, or some of you be wearing the Arctic winter gear. So, uh, albeit no snow, no freezing precipitation, and I've reiterated that several times already uh, over the past couple of months, uh, due to the fact, I make my little just for fun annual prediction for uh, measurable frozen precipitation, albeit snowfall or sleet or what have you, uh, each year in May or June. June 1st is usually typically when I do it on the start of hurricane season. Uh, but again, as with all things Mother Nature, that's subject to change. And due to La Nina this year, uh, my updated forecast says no snow, no measurable winter frozen precip. Next year, different story. We'll be under the effects of an El Nino, so all bets are off with that. So, moving forward, uh, we'll go to midnight, Christmas Eve, into Christmas morning, and you'll see that again. Everybody's in the 40s generally across the state, with the exception of New Orleans and points south of New Orleans towards the mouth of the Mississippi River, low to upper 50s. And then we'll move forward to, uh, let's see, 6, correction, this is midnight. I don't know what I was thinking. Here we go. Okay. So, there we go. This is 6 p.m. on uh, Christmas Day. I mean, Christmas Eve day. 6 p.m. Christmas Eve. And again, everybody's generally in the 40s, with the exception of extreme southeast Louisiana from New Orleans southwestward, probably down towards Houma, Galliano, Dulac, and those areas down through Port Sulphur and Venice and those areas, Violet, uh, over here towards the Wrigley's, closer to the coast here in the 50s. And then we'll advance it to midnight, uh, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, and you can see generally a lot of people, most everyone's in the 30s. Shreveport 44, which is a little bit odd, but you see a little warm pocket of air here. So you typically, you get these little warm pockets here and there. Um, you'll see the difference. You see 46 New Orleans, 52 down at Venice, 40 down in Morgan City, uh, 39 Lafayette, 39 Lake Charles, 38 Alexandria, 37 Natchitoches, 38 up in Funroe, uh, 36 in Natchez, 35 in Macomb. So again, it's going to be cold, and then we move into 6 a.m. You wake up Christmas morning, and again, not much difference in temperatures according to the GFS. Uh, everybody's in the mid to upper 30s to low 40s across the state, and some mid 40s and low 50s down here along the coastal areas. Uh, and then we move forward, and now we're at noon on Christmas Day. And generally from Alexandria southward, uh, everybody gets into the 50s, and North Alexandria northwards in the 40s, uh, low to upper 40s. And then we'll see 6 p.m. Christmas evening, and uh, generally it's about the same 30s and 40s across the board, with the exception of extreme coastal areas or in the 50s uh, moving forward. And then we go to midnight Christmas, and you see the pockets of 20s dipping down, and uh, Baton Rouge 31, Lafayette 32, Lake Charles 34, Alexandria 29, Shreveport 36, Monroe 29, Jackson, Mississippi 25, or 29 rather. So you've got some pockets of colder air here, and those folks probably could see possibly a hard freeze. The 20s look like they come down probably along the Highway 190 corridor uh, from Baton Rouge, points eastward through Livingston, Tangipahoa, and St. Tammany Parish there. Uh, you've got some 20s dropping down. So, again, we're starting to get into the middle of winter, and you can expect these colder temperatures to start arriving. However, things are, you know, trending a bit above normal, or above average, I should say, uh, due to La Nina. So we typically haven't seen as much rainfall as we normally would get this time of year in the fall and winter. So uh, temperatures trended a little bit above average, and that's typical of La Nina. Again, next year, under El Nino conditions, temperatures are generally colder than average, and precipitation is higher than average. So uh, it's a cycle, and it's to be expected. So there we have one of the major models. Now we're going to switch over to the Euro, which is finished updating here, and uh, let's see here, 21. Uh, 23rd. And you can see the front. We'll take it back here to noon on the 23rd, and you can see the trough digging down right here. Uh, you can clearly see the demarcation line of the cold front here as that trough digs down. Now we'll move forward 6 p.m. on Chris, uh, Christmas Eve, and uh, correction, Wednesday the 23rd, 6 p.m. Wednesday the 23rd, and then we get into midnight on Christmas Eve, and you can see the front is clearing the state at this time. It's already moved through Baton Rouge. They've already dropped into the low 50s, upper 50s for New Orleans. So it's you can see that the 60s already been pushed off of the coast here, down near the coast. So the front is pushing through the state at this time. Again, you're looking at the Euro, thanks to the good folks over at pivotal weather for these graphics, these model graphics here. Uh, so now we get into 6 a.m. Christmas Eve morning. You can see uh, there's a temperature differential between the GFS and the Euro. The Euro is trending colder than the GFS, and I'm tending to lean more towards the Euro, maybe, but probably going to be somewhere in between the Euro and the GFS spreads at this point. Um, so you just take these with a grain of salt. Maybe you can add a degree or two to these uh, to what we may actually see moving forward. Now, uh, we'll move forward, and now we're looking at noon on Christmas Eve, and you can see everybody's in the 40s, from low to upper 40s across the state. Cold air is filtered in. Uh, it's going to be nippy, wind chill. Unfortunately, don't get the wind chill dynamics with this. Suffice it to say, uh, it's going to be cold. Windy, yes. Uh, that northwest wind, you can expect it. So that's going to drop temperatures anywhere from, you know, 5 to 7 degrees. So now, as we move into 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, temperatures still about the same, dropped a few degrees, 3 or 4 degrees across the region. Um, as we start to get into nightfall, temperatures going to drop. And for those of you going to Christmas Eve Mass, uh, here's your midnight temperatures for Christmas Eve and the Christmas morning. Baton Rouge checking in 35, Slidell 37, New Orleans 43, Lafayette and Lake Charles 35, Alex 34, uh, Shreveport and Funroe both at 32. So uh, probably going to be a little bit of a light breeze with that. So you can take off, you know, 2 or 3 degrees off those actual temperatures for your feels like or wind chill temperature. So we'll move forward now to your wake up morning, Christmas morning, and you can see uh, freezing temperatures across the state. You see a little pocket of warmer air here along the Atchafalaya and Mississippi River basins. Uh, but generally, everybody's in the 40s. Correction, everybody's in the 30s. And very close to freezing or at or below freezing. So Lake Charles, uh, you're the oddball out, along with New Orleans, 34 and 39 respectively. Um, Still going to be cold for your Christmas morning wake up. So uh, again, with that, we're finally going to have a cold Christmas. Uh, it would make it so much better if we had some white stuff on the ground. Unfortunately, that's not to be the case. If we were farther north by several hundred miles, that might be a game changer. But unfortunately, we're down here in the deep south. So we take whatever Mother Nature can give us, and uh, suffice it to say, the heaters will be going. Hot cocoa, coffee, uh, hot toddies for you folks in Mississippi. Whatever your cold morning hot beverage of choice is, you'll have it on Christmas morning. So again, uh, it's going to be cold, and as we move into noon on Christmas Day, we warm up nicely. Generally upper 40s to low 50s across the state. Uh, So it's gonna be great for Christmas, and then we'll get into 6 p.m. Christmas evening, and everybody's dropped back down into the 40s, and then we'll get into midnight uh, Christmas and moving into Saturday morning, the day after Christmas, and we see the pockets of 30s and 40s there. And for your Saturday morning wake up, uh, low 40s across the state, down towards the coast, you got the mid 40s. We have the warm sector starting to move in out of the Gulf, and so uh, that'll be in advance of the next front. So, uh, and Saturday at noon, you can see everybody's warmed up into the low to mid 60s, and uh, and we start to fall as we get into Saturday evening, 6 p.m. Saturday evening, and everybody is generally back into the 50s, close to 60 degrees across the state. So again, there's no issues with severe weather at this point um, that we can see for our area uh, for the next 8 days. After that, we'll have to revisit that. Uh, whatever severe weather threat there may be uh, for the 23rd or Christmas Eve, I think stays out in the Gulf of Mexico and translates to the east of us and towards the Atlantic states, southeast Atlantic states at this point. So again, that's pretty much going to do it for your Thursday morning weather roundup. And it seems like internet went down. You heard that little ding dong that suggested that the internet went down, is now back up. But who knows what the Spectrum's been having a lot of issues here lately, so uh, who knows. But anyways, that's going to do it for your Thursday morning weather roundup, and appreciate you tuning in. Tuning in. Next segment will be tomorrow, and as always, for you followers here on YouTube, smash that thumbs up like button, share it, make sure you subscribe so you can get all our notifications, get those positive algorithms up on YouTube, and uh, for those of you that'll watch this via Facebook, once we share this to the page from YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe also. And uh, always, if you enjoyed my efforts here, uh, feel free to make a donation. It goes a long way in helping me offset out-of-pocket expenses for the monthly subscription-based weather software I have to use. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.